by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
A lot of fun. Really proud of our guys. Not your typical 13 seed. Super proud of our guys. They battled through quite a bit. Defensively, my gosh, we did a great job in the second half outside of number 4, but we held the Brand kid to 0 points in the second half.
I was a little nervous at the beginning of the game, but once they threw the ball up, I was good, relaxed, ready to go. And then at the end, I don't want to go home. I want the season to keep going and going and going. So I would do anything just to keep playing another game and another game after that.
We came off focused, and we keep saying we want to bring the intensity, and we did that. Couldn't be more proud of the shooting, the confidence that they had in shooting today in defense, and then being able to get everybody in the game tonight.
You know, we came out and we were ready to play today, and that's a big thing because that's the way you have to approach every game from this point on.
Straight away, Dallin Hall. Waterman 3 left side. That's good! Noah Waterman for 3! Splish splash!
This is who we are. When we're good, we're pretty good, and when we're not, we're not. And, you know, the thing about it, we played pitifully tonight. But when I say we played pitifully, that can give the appearance that I'm taking something away from BYU. BYU was better than us tonight.
It was so cool and awesome to see young kids do that. Like, they came out and, you know, they could have just been there and tried to get through it, but they didn't do that at all. They were high-fiving our athletes. They were cheering for them, dancing with them, all of the things that you just love to see.
Here's Jamal Shed, 14:27 to go. Shed, left corner, Cryer, catch and shoot 3. Got it. L.J. Cryer's got 20.
And welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB at 95.5 FM, the talk of the town. Welcome in. It's a Hump Day Wednesday show. Steve Webster, Mike Corson, Aaron Clark, and Mike Hesher, all on the program here today. We've got another great show, man. It's been a good week for guests. And it's been so good we haven't had Gerard Walbrock on. Dang. Okay, today on the program, Great Bend Panther coach Cindy Beck previewing tonight's 5A Sub-State semifinal matchup with Salina Central at the Panther Fieldhouse tonight. Also, we'll get to talk to another state champion week. Luke Fisher, senior from Larned, has won 65 straight?
68.
68 straight. Well, when I cued you, I thought you were going to roll that off instead of making me say 65.
I thought you were going to say 100.
No, 68 straight. Didn't lose his junior and senior year. And he's going to join us in studio today, talking about his 215-pound championship, won in Salina last weekend. And I'll talk with Houston basketball coach Kyle Haxton, previewing tomorrow night's 3A Sub-State semifinal with the Haven Wildcats at the Houston Activity Center. We've also got a lot of sports headlines today. But first, we get to the sounds the past 24 hours or so. Head coach Kyle Cree. Isn't there another term than survive and advance? Don't die and live on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just we got to come up with something more than survive and advance, because you're right. That has been the only good go-to for too long.
54-51, Panthers squeaked by last night against a very, very solid Bishop Carroll team. Wasn't easy by any means last night. Ian Premer ended up scoring 18 points. Ian said he wasn't ready to go home last night. Great Bend also got 16 points from Jacob Hall. So many key plays. Panthers now 16-5. They'll take on Hutchinson 7 o'clock Friday at the Fieldhouse. Hutchinson had their own struggles last night. They'd get by Goddard Eisenhower by the score of 69-63. There were so many key plays in this one down the stretch. I will start with Pretty Boy Floyd, the babyface thief.
The babyface bandit.
The babyface bandit. We're talking about Dax Minton, who had a huge steal in that last minute of the game. Stole the ball away, went down, missed the layup. Premer followed it up. Panthers had the lead. That was a huge play. There's so many in this one. So
the play after that kind of stands apart, Bishop Carroll going down, trying to work the ball into the right low post. They get it to Mikey Brand, who had 13 points in the first half. Panthers to this point have held him scoreless. He's the Golden Eagles' leading scorer on the year, scoreless in the second half. He's trying to establish position on the low right block against Jacob Hall. Hall ready for him to power inside, and he just puts body on the hardwood, draws the charge, and Panthers get the call they need. Ends up going the other way, and Great Bend able to, like you said, survive and advance. But
I like that play because Jacob didn't really flop. I mean, he did go backwards, but he had established his position. It was a pretty easy call for the official. I know Bishop Carroll probably isn't agreeing with it, but I didn't see anything wrong with that call. Of course,
and that's what I thought.
For the Panthers, but yeah, and he also hit a big three-pointer when the game was tied. Just stepped right up. I just thought they made some big plays. I thought they played pretty well last night, even though think, well, they're playing a 7-13 team. That's not a team from the Western Athletic Conference in basketball. I mean, it's a city league in basketball, one of the best in the state. We're not talking about the football conference side of it. It's basketball. And Great Bend, I thought, played well. Now they'll get ready for Hutch on Friday.
You mentioned Jacob Hall's three-point shooting there. Now 6 of 13 when he steps behind the arc this year. He's able to work down low and outside. And it's kind of fun to watch Ian Premer go off for 18 and him go off for 16. Those sophomores kind of doing a bulk of the work, but a lot of Panthers having pretty good games last night. We saw a really flashy pass from Carter Combs, a behind the back into the left low block that Jacob Hall was able to quickly put up for a easy 2 points.
That was as good a play as you're going to see in high school, and Mike and me were talking about it this morning. You say flashy, that's the only way he could have made that pass because he was jumping in. The defender was right there, whoop, right behind his back, and that was beautiful.
No one saw it coming because Carter looked like he was just driving to the top of the key. Like moving from the left wing up to the top of the key, just full send, and he jumps up, dishes it behind the back, and props to Jacob too, because he was ready for it. He had the quick hands to put it up. Like you said, now the rematch time against the Salthawks earlier this year, a 71-61 loss for the Great Bend boys, but the defensive effort a lot better now on that side. I'm excited to see how the Great Bend Panthers can do hosting the Hutchinson team rather than having to go there on the road as well.
And I like those plays that Carter makes. Sometimes it's tacky if you hit a three-pointer and you flash something or dance around. It seems to get him really going. So last week we saw the, two-third, three-quarter court pass that could have been a low percentage pass, but he made it look easy, made that behind-the-back pass look easy. And I kind of think that gets people fired up and gets him fired up that we're out here to win, but we're kind of having fun.
Yeah, but I think there's a limit to that. I think where we've seen Carter Combs the last 5 or 6 games, he does those things because they're available. He's not trying to create a scenario to create excitement. You know what I mean? I mean, that's his three-point shots that he's taken, all within the offense. I thought it was really good. We talk about how good Ian Premer is and things like that. Just think how good Ian's going to be when he gets his free throw situation figured out. And I know he's a much better three-point shooter than what he's been as well, because really he hasn't shot the ball well at all from the free throw line, and that's something he needs to continue to develop. And also that three-point shot, man, it looks good. Man, it's got the gooseneck and everything. It's just not going down, but good win for them last night.
The really impressive part about Premer at the free throw line is just the growth we've seen over one season from Ian. We've kind of went back to it, but especially before that semester break, before Christmas, he was shooting down around, I want to say 33% when he stepped to the charity stripe. Now that's up closer to 45, approaching 46%. Last night, hitting 4 of 6 from the line. So still, even he mentioned, would have liked to be 6 of 6 at the free throw line, but nice to see that progress. And like you said, also, three-point shot looks very good. Just kind of that step of finally getting the finishing touch on it.
And I will say, when he slashed towards and got the ball at the end and got the foul, I turned around and said to someone, I don't know if I'd go with Ian when you know a foul's coming. It has to come in that situation. But Ian stepped to the line, missed the first. Now you need that second one to at least make it a tie situation. Steps up and hit it. So he could have let that get to his head. That was a huge situation, and he still got a critical free throw when he needed it.
Yeah, I've just been emboldened by Connor Nickel, to not be afraid to state the obvious, So there you go.
Shoot the ball more, Parker Dix.
And the other thing they showed last night was when you are a high seed like that, okay? Yeah, 15-5 are taking on 7-13. Okay, all of a sudden you're down by 8 points. Second quarter, 19-11. Things aren't going that well. that's when you start seeing guys all of a sudden throwing up a three that's contested, maybe a quick shot here and there. They showed a lot of poise, didn't get out of things. It helped that Ian came down, had a two-hand rim bender that it's cool when you watch on video. They've got those rim mics now.
Yeah.
That pow! And that cut it to 6, 17-7 run to end the first half. So it's Great Bend on to take on Hutchinson on Friday. Certainly we'll talk about that with Kyle Cree when he's in here tomorrow. Hutchinson again, 69-63. 6:45 pregame on B104.3. The Point for Hutchinson and Great Bend, a chance to go to the 5A state basketball tournament. Okay, in Hoisington last night, the Hoisington girls had a tight one, 71-26, and this game, they had 51 in the first half, Hesh.
It was 18-0 early on, 34-2 at the end of the first quarter, and 51-4 at halftime.
The last time, maybe the only other time I've seen a high school girls team get 50 and a half, it was over in Claflin, and it was Emily Ryan, and that was against Hoisington. So 71-26, they're now 14-7 on the year. Ellsworth in the semifinals on Friday. What about Ellsworth? Well, they had a tight one last night, and they ended up getting a victory, Hesh. Well, not tied. They beat Nickerson 58-37. So there's been some close games between these two teams in recent meetings.
The last couple of years at the Winter Jam, both of them in the semifinals, Hoisington has won by 3 points each time. 2 years ago was Addie Mason hit a three-pointer at the bucket, and this past January, actually, Ellsworth took the lead 34-33 late in the fourth quarter, but Hoisington outscored them 5-0 down the stretch to win 37-34. So, and the other thing that's interesting, Craig Batchman, the coach of Ellsworth, and the coach from Hoisington, Trina Luters, have followed each other around for several years now. They both coached in Southwest Kansas, then they're both recently been up in North Central Kansas, and now they're both in Hoisington and Ellsworth, obviously.
Who's following who?
I think it's kind of mixed, to be honest with you.
Okay, so one fall. Okay, all right. So, semifinals set Friday. Haven will take on Larned at 6. Hoisington against Ellsworth at 7:30. Okay, we had the Larned girls head coach Smith in last week here on the show because I think that's going to be a fun game on Friday. I really do. I think Larned, and they went out and just didn't, they have a home game last night. They didn't screw around, man. They just went out and very impressive win. I mean, it's 65-33. It's a cakewalk. Now you get ready to take on Haven, a team they only scored 9 points against when they played them at Haven, but Haven didn't score either. It was 19-9, so make a few shots. I think it's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be a good Friday night of girls basketball at the AC.
I would agree, and if you recall, in mid-December, Larned had them beat. Larned had them up by 4 or 5 midway fourth quarter, but Haven, as I said, Haven did what Haven does, and Larned did what Larned had been doing, but I think things have changed well under Jared Smith.
Okay, so 3A boys pick up. We'll talk to Kyle Haxton about the matchups tomorrow over at Hoisington because at 6 o'clock it'll be Ellsworth 17-4 against 8-13 Lions, and then Haven 15-6 against 12-9 Hoisington. 1A boys substates kick back up tomorrow in St. John. This is gonna be a fun night. I'm gonna head down there. I'm gonna get me a. I don't know what they have down there. Do they have like fresh fruit and nasty tasting food that I can enjoy the game? Probably popcorn, right?
Best deal in sports.
6 o'clock, Lacrosse boys against Hodgman County. 7:30, Central Plains taking on Maxville. Substate 1A Division II tomorrow in Stafford. St. John Beloit takes on Otis Bison, who's 6-15, and then at 7:30, Victoria against Pawnee Heights. Okay, girls tonight. Salina Central. What's the line, Mike?
I honestly don't know anything about Salina Central, but given this Great Bend higher seed at home, 8.5.
Can tell you a little bit about the Mustangs. 3-point shooting. That's going to be key stopping
I
for.
hate those teams. It's just like Bishop Carroll. They're loose. They'll take a three anytime they can. Don't leave them open. And if they get hot, ooh, okay.
There's a couple different Mustangs to pay attention to. We'll talk to Coach Beck a little bit about a couple of them, but their top 3-point shooters right now, hitting on close to 56 of 135 of their attempts behind the arc, good for 31%. So not on a little bit of volume either. When they get hot from outside, They're a tough team to beat, but the way the Panther defense has been playing, I'm excited to see what Coach Beck has to say about what she thinks against the Mustangs tonight.
Going back to the boys real quick because I forgot, you might think, oh, the Panther boys blew a coverage assignment or something. No, Hauserman was averaging 11 points a game, scored 14, hit 4 of his first 5 3-point attempts. So that shows you that some kids can get hot when the stage is big.
Well, it was pretty big last night. So.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, KU loses last night. 19-game winning streak ends. Noah Waterman hitting a three-pointer. BYU beat KU 76-68. Bill Self had said that going into the game that, man, we've got to defend outside in. And 18 from Dallin Hall and Jackson Robinson. So no McCullers again last night for KU. Now they've got to go on the road and take on Baylor on Saturday. It's going to be a weird year for KU. They're 21-7, and heck, they're going to drop further down, probably in the Big 12. That's going to be a tough ask to win on the road in Waco. Bill Self just saying, yeah, they were better than us. Cool story. Check it out on GreatBendPost.com as Brent Kaiser, West Region Director for Special Olympics Kansas, talking about the Barton Cougars who volunteered for the basketball and cheerleading tournament Saturday in Great Bend. Very appreciative, Mike.
And so that was cool. Coach Combs reads out well before they know they're going to be in the mix for the number 1 ranking. So Brent had scheduled these things based on area schedules and says, Coach, you got a game that night. And he says, no, we want to come over there. So even with that potential number 1 ranking on the line, they'd made the commitment, showed up, and then, like you said, didn't just show up. They actually kind of went all in.
So, yeah, really neat. And then the call, Houston last night, Jeremy Branham from Learfield, C.J. Cryer hits a three-pointer. That put the Cougars up 41-27. The number 1 ranked Houston Cougars beating Cincinnati 67-59. So Houston on their way to winning the Big 12 championship in their first year in the league. Okay, Barton men tonight and women on the road. They'll be in Dodge City. For the Cougar men, a chance to clinch at least a tie for the league title tonight in the regular season. They'll be going for win number 18 in a row against Dodge City, the defending conference regular season champions, who have hit rough times this year, just 7-15 in league play, 9-19 overall. 2 very tough tests coming up for the Barton women. Tonight they get the 15th ranked Dodge City women, who are 18-4 in league. They're going to be the number 2 seed in the Region 6, 24-4 overall. And then the Lady Cougars are going to get Hutchinson, who is 27-0 and 21-0 in conference on Saturday. Alan Clark will be in on Sports Day tomorrow.
Hutchinson women still number 2?
No, they've been number 1 now.
So we're going to have a double number 1 matchup in Barton County. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Hot ticket right now.
Wow.
Hot ticket right now. Okay, a lot of headlines. Lance Leipold getting an extension. We'll have time to talk about that, I think, here at the end of the program today. Chiefs announced plans for their renovation. And Marquez Valdez-Scantling released also, or is going to be released by the Chiefs. And Sean Payton. Sounds like he's ready to move on from Russ, but here's a good quote for you. It says the next time we need to hit on the next quarterback.
I think that's what every team's trying to do. Yeah. And I think it might also be a little easier said than done. Don't think they thought they were missing when they handed Russ that $240+ million contract, but tough to have to try to move off him so soon.
Yeah, especially when you got to eat that.
It's a lot of dead money if you're trying to move off of him.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins, the name being thrown around a bunch.
If they want to go give him a big contract, I'd love that.
I was going to say,
Bronco fans would blow their hooves off if they went and got Kirk Cousins. I like him.
I do too. It would just be a lot of money because I assume he's still going to want a good contract. But we can talk about that later.
Okay. Well, you're going to have to talk a little bit more because I'm sitting there loading something. So we can get to this too. Barton baseball. It's loading. Barton picked up a couple wins yesterday, 16-2, 13-3 over, Kansas Wesleyan JV. So Barton 8-4, and the Cougars will continue their 7-game homestand, 3-game weekend series against North Iowa Area Community College Friday, 12 p.m. doubleheader before concluding the series with a 12 p.m. first pitch coming up on Saturday. It's going to be fun getting Brent Biggs back in the studio, talk a little bit Barton baseball. We still got a lot of hoop action to take care of here on the program. Luke Fisher coming in, Cindy Beck, Kyle Haxton, all part of the Wednesday Sports Day show.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
We had a lady that was having some severe back and hip pain, and we worked with her for about 6 to 7 weeks, and we were able to actually restore greater than 80% of her mobility, and we were able to keep her from actually needing that surgery for about 4 years.
You don't need to hurt. Physical therapy can help. Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
Marmy Auto Group makes it happen. Central and Western Kansas. Check out our selection of new and pre-owned inventory. Marmy's friendly staff offers top quality service that you've gotten to know over the years. When your existing vehicle needs parts or service, our experienced team will get you back in the game this season. Marmy Chevrolet, GMC, Ford and Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep Ram, parts, service, and body shop. Visit Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street or marmys.net. Marmys, make it happen.
Sports Day is presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department. Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Welcome back to 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. For more Sports Day, it's Aaron Clark, now joined by a head coach of the Great Bend Lady Panthers, Cindy Beck. Coach, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now, before we get too far into tonight's matchup against Salina South for your Lady or against Salina Central for your Lady Panthers, I wanted to get your impressions of last night's Great Bend boys win, a 54-51 sub-state opening round victory over Hutch. Coach, it was an electric game, an electric atmosphere. What did you think of that Panther boys game last night?
Oh, it was a great game, especially when we know how it ended up as a Panther fan. But what a game from start to finish. I just couldn't believe the level of play on both sides of the ball. It kind of felt like we dug a hole early a little bit, and they were so calm and collected in the way they kind of just fought back, a possession at a time, getting one defensive stop after another, and just put us in a good position overall. And then it felt like it was kind of a little bit of a shootout there for a little bit. I don't know their players' names, but man, that number 4, he has a pretty shot, and it was just tough. We were contesting it and stuff like that, but again, I just thought our guys did a great job of staying calm and just doing, what they do best and working for that look. I don't know if there was a play bigger than Jackson Minton's steal there at the end that gave us then the go-ahead bucket, I think, by Ian Premer. But, man, what a game. Great game.
Absolutely. And you talked about that environment a little bit. I'm sure it's something you're wanting to replicate tonight in your matchup against the Mustangs, because the last few games, the Panther Fieldhouse has been absolutely rocking. It makes it a lot of fun to broadcast from. I can't imagine to play in and coach in.
Oh, absolutely. Our community and the student body, and they've been a huge part of that atmosphere these last couple of games. And it's something I talk to our girls a lot about, is just how cool it is to play in front of a crowd like that. And what I think is one of the best high school gyms. I may be a little impartial on that, but I do. I think it's just an awesome place to play. Having that kind of support has been great. I don't know the last time we've hosted a sub-state. I know in my coaching career, have never. So I think it will. The girls were actually talking about that this morning, kind of, Coach, do you think we'll have a good crowd? And, I kind of looked at them and I said, I don't know if you're a Panther fan. I don't know what else you'd be doing. So hopefully we can have that same support again tonight and get after it.
Talking about the last time you hosted a sub-state, I'm not quite sure when that was, but you've had the best Lady Panthers season in about 10 years. Last time, their last team to have more wins than you in the regular season was the 2013-2014 squad, who finished 19-6 on the year. But you guys are rolling right now, 14-6. What's gotten you to such a great season so far?
I think a lot is what so many of these kids have kind of been through. They've gone through the grind the last couple of years and didn't really have that full reward at the end of it. I never questioned how hard my kids work. They show up every day, but I feel like this year it's kind of flipped that switch. The past couple of seasons, all those 50-50, 60-40 games, we just couldn't quite get over the hump. And this season, I feel like we did. A lot of those close games, we found ways to win. And just the way that these kids have kind of turned that mentality, and they just play relaxed, they play hard. And I think I've said it before, but I don't know, this team just plays so hard for each other. From top to bottom, whether it's a starter to the girl on the end of our bench, they are all just all in and want what is best for our team. And I think that that's been a huge thing for us, in just the support and kind of riding that roller coasters of the high points to the low points. They stick together, which is a huge thing for us overall.
So turn our attention to tonight's matchup as I'm joined on the program by head coach of the Great Bend Lady Panthers, Cindy Beck. Coach, looking at the Salina Central Mustangs, they've got a couple of gals that I wanted to talk about. The first one this morning, Callan Hall, or maybe Kaylin Hall, but she's a great three-point shooter for Salina Central, number 3 for the Mustangs, averaging 36% from the field, hitting on 20 of 56 at deep shots this year. What do you know about number 3, Hall?
Yeah, that's overall as a team, they seem to kind of use that three-pointer to keep themselves in games or win games overall, and it's been a big focus for us. They've got 3 or 4 of them that look to shoot that three, and so, we've talked a lot these last couple of days about we got to make them contested. We cannot give them wide-open looks. As long as you're contesting a shot and making it as hard as possible, it's not to say that, a kid's shooting 36%. It's not to say she's not going to hit one, but we've got to make it difficult and try to get them off rhythm as quick as we can.
What does go into kind of letting your girls know a good shooter's going to get some over you, but how do you keep their heads in it and keep them tuned in on the defensive side of the ball?
Well, and I think that's kind of something we've looked at all year. Very seldom if a kid's averaging 10, 15 points, or are we going to hold them scoreless? That's just a tough task overall. But to try to just always stay focused on, hey, good shooters can shoot, but we have to just at least challenge every one of them, and we can't just give them a gimme basket type situation. And so trying to stay in their hip pocket a little bit defensively, awareness on the help side of it of, if they've got a shooter coming off a double screen, someone may have to show for a second just to get them a little off rhythm. And I think that's something, we talk a lot about is just, a kid shooting in rhythm, exactly what they want, that shot falls. And especially to not let them get a head up early. If you can get them to miss the first one or miss the first and second one, it makes it a little tougher. When that first, second one they drop, you just shoot that ball a little bit more relaxed. So we talk a lot about just making it as challenging as we can, and then we have to move forward. If the shot falls, then it has to be next possession. We can't just draw on that one shot or that one look. We got to move forward and get better and continue to compete.
Another Lady Mustang I want to get your opinion on, Sanaya Triplett. She's averaging 9 points on the year, and another pretty good three-point shooter. She's up close to 27%, but that kind of fits the bill like you were talking about for the Salina Central team as a whole. What do you know about Triplett?
She's quick. She's quick defensively. She's quick on the drive. She goes downhill and downhill hard towards the basket. So she's definitely going to be one we got to give a lot of attention to. It'll be a task probably to start with Kinsey for the night. And very similar to some of the players she has guarded this season. But again, to try and get them, just stay as frustrated as we can in the sense of just staying right by them, making it hard, giving them a challenge. That's always our overall goal defensively, is just to try to make it as difficult as possible. But she's a good player. She's a tough girl guard because she drives hard, and she also can shoot that outside shot. So a lot of awareness overall as our team. Again, but someone we got to make sure and lock down on.
So when you're at this point in the season, Coach, heading into sub-state, how much new stuff are you adding in on the defensive and I suppose on the offensive side as well, but how much new stuff is going into your practices, into your game plan at this point in the season?
A lot just depends on the teams and the matchups that we're seeing and what they're bringing to the table or what we think they're going to do to us defensively. Salina Central has shown a little bit of a 1-3-1 in some of their films, so that's something we have not seen a lot of, but yet we want to be prepared for. So we talk about those kinds of things and in practice, but overall, at this point, we're trying to roll with what we are best at and focus on our strengths overall. So kind of that same mentality of we've done some great things that have gotten us to the position we're in, and let's be really good at what we do rather than average at a lot of different things. So trying to stay focused on us and what we're good at.
All right, Coach, you're heading in against a 10-10 Salina Central squad. They're winners of 4 of their last 5. What are your final thoughts before you take on the Mustangs at the Panther Fieldhouse tonight?
Yeah, they're a good team. They play hard. They're physical. So it's going to be a tough game. I've told the girls that. They're well aware of, at this point in the season, everyone's trying to win and advance. And so that's got to be our same mentality of do whatever we can. I think my words to them this morning were a little bit, hey, live with no regrets. You got to leave it all out there on the court and get everything we got and see if we can get it done.
That is head coach of the Great Bend Lady Panthers, Cindy Beck. Coach, good luck tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You can catch Cindy Beck and her squad tonight at the Panther Fieldhouse. Tip-off is set for 7 o'clock. If you can't make it out, we'll have your pregame coverage starting at 6:45 right here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Stick around as we'll have more Sports Day heading your way right after this.
Smart stays on the road. That's why it's in your engine. Cenex Maxtron synthetic diesel engine oils give you the smartest oil for the toughest conditions. These premium oils maintain 80% of their viscosity throughout the drain interval for superior engine performance across extreme temperatures. That horizon looks good with the competition behind you. Cenex Maxtron diesel engine oils. Oil that runs smart.
Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor today.
Join Barton Community College in the eccentric adventure Caractacus Pods for an unforgettable adventure filled with flying cars, family fun, and laughter. Barton Theater presents Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Experience the magic of this timeless musical brought to life on stage, with multiple showings starting February 29th and running through March 3rd. Bring the whole family and let your imagination soar. For more information, visit shows.bartonccc.edu.
Are you unhappy with your current wireless provider? Well, what are you waiting for? Make the switch to Nextech Wireless. Not only will you get great service and the latest devices, but when you bring your number to us, you pay nothing down. That's right, the taxes and activation fee are on us.
Certain restrictions apply.
Nextech Wireless, home on the range.
Sports Day is presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department. Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Welcome back in. It's Aaron Clark with more Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Joined now on the program by Larned's Luke Fisher. Luke, thanks for joining me this afternoon.
Yeah, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be on the show.
We appreciate you making the trek over. No, Larned's not the closest, but it's a pretty big deal bringing home a state title to the area, not once but twice now in your Larned High School wrestling career. A lot to talk about today, but want to start with that 2024 state championship tournament in general. Tell me a little bit about the first 3 matches, 3 falls, coming in pretty quick succession for you.
You know, years before, the state tournament was in Hayes, so it was a lot different in Salina this year, and also it was a 3-day tournament, which surprisingly made a huge difference. Staying focused for 3 days was a lot harder than I thought, and just getting the proper sleep and eating right during the day was something I kind of overlooked at first, but it made a big deal. But my second match of the state tournament was probably one of, if not the biggest match of the tournament, going against the returning state champion. I already went against him previous times, but he was a very good wrestler, and I did a lot of film watching and just mentally preparing as well for a really tough match. And surprisingly, I ended up pinning him in the first period, which I was not expecting.
When you're wrestling against a high-ranking opponent like that, how do you prepare yourself, and how do you make sure that you don't get too worked up for the match?
Yeah, 100%. Getting wound up before the match is not something you necessarily want to do. You want to kind of be in the right headspace and talking to a lot of different wrestlers. It seems like everyone has their own system, I would say. And, for me, I'm a really superstitious guy, so I have to do the exact same order of things. I have to listen to the same song before the match. I have to breathe a little bit. So it's weird how everyone has their different ways, but I'm a very superstitious guy.
And so looking at the championship matchup, not something you see a lot in wrestling, but a Tech Fall win in the championship round. Tell me, what was going through your head there? And did you, at some point, did you get up 12-1 or something and go, well, I might as well go for the Tech Fall, or were you still trying for the pin the whole time?
Yeah. I was going for the pin at first, and once it was about that last period and I needed 2 more for the Tech Fall, I thought it'd be pretty cool to get that Tech in the finals. That's something very unusual. You don't see very often. Looking back, I kind of regret trying. I should have tried to pin him because my coach just told me the other day I was 1 pin away from the career record at Larned. So
tough break there, but those bring us to some pretty impressive marks for you on the season. You're 46-0. It's a top 10 mark in all time in all classes, and 40 falls this year. That's a top 5 marks all time in all classes. Tell me a little bit about what goes into just that much work. You're a great wrestler, but also just a great athlete in general for Larned. How do you stay at the top of your game?
I'm very fortunate to have the support I do from all my coaches. I owe everything to my coaches, not only wrestling, but in football, but my entire sports career. And just being consistent. That's something I've kind of learned from all my coaches is if you practice consistent every day, you'll have consistent performance on the mat or in the field. So, like I said, I'm a superstitious guy, so I took that very literally, and I listened to the same songs. My dad ate the same meal at the state tournament. Both state tournaments, he had 2 Little Debbie cream pies, I believe. So it's just a very superstitious, weird environment I'm in, but it worked. So
hey, the cream pies though, that's a pretty tasty snack anytime. But tell me a little bit, what's the first song on that playlist that you always listen to?
So it's a little bit of just some hip hop rap. It's something I listen to. I don't know why. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
If it's getting the job done, just keep going at it. Talking about your final season here at Larned, was there any point where you kind of realized you might be in the middle of something special here, the undefeated 46-0 record? When did it kind of start to get to your head that you were going to be a big part of Larned wrestling history potentially?
It was a cool feeling. I didn't really want to talk about it, just another thing to think about in the back of your mind, whether it helps or makes you a little bit more nervous. But I don't think I talked about it once with my dad really at home, just, to keep my head on straight. But no, it's a really cool feeling to kind of be in the record books, and I hope that in the future someone goes and beats it or, is encouraged to beat it.
You've talked about your dad now a couple of times. Tell me a little bit about what he's meant to you on this connection. Sure, he's been there for a lot of those wrestling tournaments along the way.
A lot of ups and downs. It's been a lot of fun, and we've both had to learn because my dad, he wrestled in high school, but he didn't wrestle all 4 years, and so he was trying his best, whether asking all my coaches and everything. So I've really appreciated him and just all the other coaches and all these sacrifices I've made, whether, my dad's sacrifices or my coaches. Whether it's a forehead, I busted open one of my coach's foreheads right before the state tournament, and I really appreciate him coming into the room, but I kind of felt bad. He had to go get glued up at the hospital. So.
Oh man, well, if it helped lead you to a state championship, I'm sure the coach isn't too upset about it.
Yeah. I was talking. It's Coach Rath. He's not even a high school coach, but I gave him a little kind of Harry Potter scar on his forehead. But I really do appreciate him coming to the room, giving me some work.
So now he's the boy who lived Luke Fisher. Stepped into the ring with Luke Fisher and loves to tell the tale. You mentioned your dad not wrestling all 4 years. You actually went through some injuries in the first 2 years of your high school wrestling career. Tell me a little bit about that.
My freshman year, I kind of had an injury in football, and I kind of just ignored it and continued to wrestle. And when wrestling season came, my knee kind of just folded in on itself, and I had ended up go get surgery. And then my sophomore year, I had some more knee issues. But it was just, it was a frustrating thing, but I couldn't do anything about it. So I kind of just had to put that past me. And going into my junior year, I was really only halfway through my freshman year. So I couldn't let that be an excuse for myself. So I just had to work harder than everyone else and kind of forget about it in a way.
talking about the rehab process there, trying to come back from a knee injury. It can be hard enough trying to come back for one sport like in football, but also trying to prepare for a high contact, high intensity sport like wrestling. How did you kind of prepare your body to not get injured in the future there in your rehab process?
You know, a lot of people note the physical stretching and everything, but I would say almost more of it was a mental block for me. I would get in a lot of situations where I would get uncomfortable and I'd feel like my knee was about to blow out. We were just talking about Josiah here before this, and he's been battling knee injuries, and I talked to him at the Hoisington League meet before state, and he was just talking to me, and I was talking through, you know, it's a lot more mental than physical. I feel like the mental aspect is more important because, you know, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, is my knee about to explode while I'm wrestling this guy? But
so obviously, wrestling's been able to do a lot for you here. You're a very talented wrestler. You've been selected to wrestle in the recently announced Kansas Shrine Duels coming up. I believe it's going to be in March. Tell me a little bit about what you know about that and how you're preparing to still be wrestling a little bit later than you might have expected to this year.
Yeah, it's an honor. It's the first ever Shrine Duel that they're doing. So it's an honor kind of to be that first class. But yes, so I'll be wrestling, I believe it's March 17th at Newman University. And it's an honor to be considered one of the best in the state. There's always an argument between all the classes, you know, because there's 321A, 4A, 5A, and 6A, and who's really the best. So it'll kind of put it into that argument, and we'll really see who the top guy is.
It's going to be fun to see if you can't get to that 47-0 mark instead of a 46-0 look. Also, that you've been invited to be on the Team Kansas at the Heartland National Duels in Council Bluffs over the summer, or excuse me, coming up at the end of March. Tell me a little bit about that, and how did that process come about to being selected to a Kansas national team like that?
Yeah, you know, I didn't really think about it during the season, but no, it's really cool to be considered one of the best, and I'm excited to see how good I am compared to everyone else. You know, I've had a very fun, undefeated season here, but I want to see how I rank up against the other guys and maybe get whooped a little bit, you know, and that's fine. I want to see where I rank against everyone else.
The competition there kind of sounds like that's part of it for you. Has that been something that's always been in you, or when did a fire kind of get lit under you and kind of spark that competitive nature?
You know, I've always been competitive, but, you know, I've always had my wins and losses, and one hard thing for me is finding guys just like I am, and I'm blessed through my career to have very good practice partners, you know, and especially this year, a lot of the older guys had graduated. This year I had Lennon Haney, which I really appreciated in the room, but I was going all over the state trying to find someone to scrap with so I didn't have to bust one of my coaches' foreheads. So
I want to minimize the injuries to your coaching staff.
Exactly.
Last thing I really want to talk to you about, not only are you an all-state running back on the football field, a two-time state champion on the wrestling mat, but a 4.0 student in the classroom. What goes into balancing that 4.0 straight A's student lettering, as you can potentially hear Steve Webster? Didn't know you were that kind of stud scholar, but what goes into balancing that student-athlete life?
Oh, it really doesn't take that much. It's something nice to brag about, but really just focusing on doing the right thing in the current moment. You know, time is now, so focus on doing what's right in the moment, and luckily I've been fortunate enough to be successful on the mat and on the field and also in the classroom just by trying to do the right thing.
I imagine the success you've had in your athletics combining with that academic kind of success as well probably put you on the radars of some universities who are curious about your talents on the gridiron or the wrestling mat. Can you tell me a little bit about what your opinion of the recruiting process has been thus far?
Yeah, it's always really fun to flex that 4.0 GPA to those college coaches. They usually eat that up pretty good. But as far as the recruiting process, you know, coming out of a 2A school, it's always going to be a little bit harder. But I appreciate everyone who's reached out to me. And even after the finals match, I had a couple coaches come up, so I was honored to do that. So, you know, I have the credentials. Now I just have to get myself out there.
Absolutely. I think you've got the talent for it, got great personality for it. And what class are you missing right now? Who do we need to be saying a big shout-out to out in Larned?
I think I'm actually currently missing weights class, so
so it's not a bad one. Get to come and celebrate some of your weightlifting successes here. That is Larned's Luke Fisher, 2-time state champion this year at 215 for the Tribe. Luke, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. I appreciate it a lot.
We'll have more Sports Day coming up right after this on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB Great Bend and 95.5 FM K238CK Hoisington.
When it comes to car maintenance, it's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Amy Herrera, Regional Retail Manager for your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time and I've helped many people navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people. I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you how we're committed to serving you in our communities. At Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Ryan, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
Venture Corporation is a homegrown company with almost 50 years of experience in asphalt, paving, and construction, and they need equipment operators, mechanics, and CDL drivers. Venture offers many benefits, including 401k and Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. Call Leslie for all the details. Work for a family-owned and family-oriented company that is here today and will be here in the future. Venture Corporation, South Highway 281, Great Bend, is an equal opportunity employer.
It's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Welcome back to Sports Day, joined by the head coach of the Hoisington Cardinal boys, Kyle Haxton. They'll be in action tomorrow at home, semifinals of 3A Sub-State. They'll be taking on the Haven Wildcats. You know, one of the things of hosting this show is we do it during the day, so teachers, we have to get support from the administration, things like that. We just have kids come in. It's just awesome. And while they're educating, we get to talk to the coaches, too. So you're getting an assist right now, Kyle.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot we had made this plan, and I'm calling Coach Brungart down the hall to help us out. So,
well, those kids will probably be fine, just, unsupervised for here a few minutes. I mean,
we'll try to keep from that.
Talking to you right before we went on the air, said, man, anytime you get to this stage, a chance to move on. It's the exciting time of the year, although it's, it's kind of a one and done time. What's that like as a head coach and as a player and when you're in that situation?
Well, the first round game is always one that seems to be filled with nerves. You come out, you got those dead legs in the first 2 minutes because of all the hype of playing in a postseason game and knowing that your season's on the line. I think once you get to game 2, the second round game, those nerves go away a little bit, and you're playing with nothing to lose, and everybody's got the same thing at stake. It's just you got to figure out a way to battle and win. It may not be pretty, and it may be. I mean, who knows what it's going to look like, but just compete, follow a game plan, and hope that that's enough to move on and advance to a championship round and an opportunity to go to the state tournament, which is everybody's goal.
Okay, you always hope that everybody's there, that you've had all year, that you don't have injuries, you don't have things like that. Well, that's not always the case, and with you, you're having to move forward without a guy that started for you 20 games in Red Gala. So talk about what you miss, and then who stepped in to try to fill that void.
Well, it's tough to fill that void with Ren. I mean, he's one of those guys that was playing his best basketball at the end of the year, and we were expecting more from him on both ends of the floor. He was really producing for us from the perimeter and also in the paint. There were times where we were playing him as a post player even, and he was producing there. So just heart wrench that it has to happen to such a good kid, but that never happens to those that you'd be okay missing. It just doesn't seem to be okay to go that way. But Ren's a competitor and a great kid, and one that we would certainly want to have on the floor. But he's going to do his part. I mean, he's going to continue to hype these guys up from the bench and stay invested in what's going on and communicate with guys as a bench player, which is also a huge role in the postseason. And so he's not giving up on the year, and he's going to continue to do what he has to do to help us be successful. Guys that are stepping in are Marcus Ingram, taking that starting role as a sophomore, who plays very aggressively, and he can help us set the tone defensively with his aggressiveness. And then Randy Chambers, a senior, who's been there and done that. He's playing a lot more minutes because of the injury to Ren as well, and he has played really well for us.
You make a very good point, because Hesher and me were never hurt at the end of the year. So
is that right?
I don't know if that's what you said. That's what you said. We must not have been key players. Okay, that's a good point. Okay, you mentioned nerves in a subset. Your team didn't shoot it very well in the opener, but I guess that's okay if the other team's not scoring any points against you. You hold Russell to 21, 52-21 the final on Monday night. So you get past that first-round hurdle.
Yeah, we haven't really shot the ball extremely well all year, and we've won 12 games. We're only shooting at about 25% from the arc as a team, which is one of the lowest totals I can remember. And then we're shooting at a higher percentage from two than we normally do. I mean, I think we're doing a pretty good job of finishing in the paint, but we seem to rely on the three a little bit too much at times, and we're getting better about that. And it's just playing with some high discipline and high IQ. That's going to continue to get better for us. But what we hang our hat on each and every night is our defense and our intensity on the defensive end. And I can't wait to go through and figure it all out at the end of the year. But I think we've more than 90% of the time held our opponent to their lowest total of the season.
Okay, Kyle, before we break down the intricacies of the 1-3-1, which you're talking Haven, you're very, Lonnie Paramore, of course, has been around a long time, and Dwight Roper, you're very entwined with those two individuals.
Yeah, they're Sterling College guys, and Dwight's his wife played at Sterling while I was playing at Sterling, and Lonnie was a great player at Sterling College, and those are guys that I've been around the game of basketball with for a long time. They did it before I did, and I have a ton of respect for them and what they do and how they do it. But, two guys that I always look forward to visiting with anytime I see them.
Okay, anytime you play Haven, you got to talk about the 1-3-1, because it was always a defense that I loved seeing in high school because it was so easy to attack. But the coaches that are committed to it, they do it full court, they do it three-quarter court, they do it half court. Tell me, I know this is about the 35th time I've ever asked you, this question. What makes their 1-3-1 so much different and effective than others?
Well, you've already said it. They do it every day, and they've done it for years. That's what makes it different. They can play it. They can speed it up. They can slow play it. They can bait you into traps. They can fully commit to traps, and they know why they're doing it and when they're doing it because they've done it for so long, and that's what makes it tough. It's real similar to how we're effective defensively with our run and jump in our half court. Anybody could try to simulate or emulate what we do in their practices to prepare for playing us, but it's different because of our rotations and our discipline with what we do. You can't emulate it perfectly, and that's what makes it tough. And they don't have the same kind of length they've had in the past. Haven, they've got 3 5'9" guards, but they're still so fast and so quick that it makes it challenging. And they've won a lot of low-scoring games this year. I mean, they recently beat Halstead 45-38. Recently beat Heston, the number one team in the state at that time, 45-38. Beat us in a low-scoring 45-33 game.
it's a frustrating defense that you've got to try to mix up what you're doing and find a way to be successful. And we'll have a new game plan for it again tomorrow.
Okay, a lot of times you get in postseason play, you get maybe a day, or maybe you don't even get a day to prepare for the next opponent. What about having 2 to get ready for Haven?
Well, we're already going against that 1-3-1 yesterday. Yeah. So, usually we, like you said, it's just a day. So it's nice that we're going to have yesterday and to be able to make some adjustments based on what we saw in practice and use those again today. And, use what we like and get rid of what we didn't like. And we played them once prior in the season, which allows us to look back at that film and see how we were successful and how we were not. So that's an advantage for us as well. I like some of the adjustments we've made, really picking my assistant coaches' brains about it too, which has been really helpful. So together we'll all come up with a way that hopefully will give us some opportunities to score more than 45 to 50 points.
Okay, we've done this a few times over the years, so you know what's coming now. Feelings going into this one?
Well, I'm excited. I'm just excited to have an opportunity to be with this group another day, to go to practice today, to be ready to prepare for battle again one more time tomorrow. And I think it's a winnable game. I truly do. And we were right there with them the first time we played. It was 20-19 at halftime. We laid an egg in the third quarter. Finished fairly strong and had to foul down the stretch, which made it look like a bigger win than it certainly was. So, our kids have a lot of confidence. We're going to go in and we're going to battle. We're going to get after it defensively, and we're going to make some perimeter shots and give ourselves a chance to win. But we're also going to attack this thing inside out. So, we're optimistic that we can take care of business and playing on our home floor and hopefully get ready and prepare for a state berth by winning a game on Saturday which will be another good opponent.
Okay, so we've got a date on Friday. All you got to do is just go out and knock off Haven, okay?
Well, I hope that's the case, and we'll certainly give them our best.
Kyle, thanks so much for your time. Kyle Haxton, head coach of the Hoisting Cardinals on Sports Day.
Want to graduate a little sooner? Take online courses with Barton Online and transfer seamlessly to your university of choice without all the hassle. We have 6-week and 8-week sessions starting in February and March. Save tons of time and money and get ahead by taking courses at Barton and transferring your credits. Now enrolling for both sessions. Get started at online.bartoncccc.edu.
Now, in its second decade, it's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
You know what Lance Leipold said today? I finally know what it feels like to be Mike Hesher. New contract for Lance Leipold, significant raise to average salary more than $7 million per year. Doesn't include any new years in the deal that runs through 29, but the raise from $5 million he made in 23 puts him up near the top of Big 12 conference coaches. So
I think KU saw some of those job openings come open this season and thought, hey, he might take some of those. There's a lot of attention to him potentially taking the A&M job when it popped open, and now they want to keep him in Lawrence long term. They gave him the money to do so, led him to 9-4 season last year. I'm excited to see what he can do for the Jayhawks going forward.
Chiefs planning an $800 million renovation to Arrowhead Stadium that would begin after the team plays host to the World Cup games. Project contingent on the extension of a tax of a 3/8 of a cent sales tax by voters in Jackson County on April 2nd. And the Chiefs releasing, as we mentioned earlier, wide receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Thanks for what you did, buddy, but you're making too much money. We got to shed some skin.
Saved $12 million by letting him walk.
Chris Jones?
He's not getting the franchise tag because they franchise tagged L'Jarius Sneed.
Woohoo! All right. Have a good call tonight. Talk to you tomorrow on Sports Day.